think Emmerich is a great case of someone who's simply just gotten too good at what he does for his own good. And I think from an outsider's perspective, it's starting to seem like a case where Emmerich is just kind of really lonely at the top. So around 2 weeks ago, he made this tweet that says, "I keep accidentally farming. At this point, no one's going to catch up to me." Now, I don't know Emmerich's complete whole thoughts on all of this. Like, I'm not hijacking his brain and figuring out exactly how he feels about being rank 1 for God knows how long. He's already been rank 1 for a while, and pretty sure no one's dethroning him anytime soon. Also, a little unrelated, but we can see Mr. Edward doing a bit of PR down here. Pretty cool. But this is a tweet from 2 weeks ago, and the saga continues with this lovely tweet that says, "Gonna not farm for 1 year and see where this goes. If no one overtakes me, then he will eat bread." And then also, in a very satirical way, reveal everything else about his life. Now, personally, I'm not too convinced by this offer. I think even if he does reveal all this stuff, it's not going to be that helpful for people. I think if he could reveal some more important stuff, like his morning routine, what he eats in the morning, what side of the bed he sleeps on, what hand he uses to flush the toilet, simple things like that. Hopefully he'll reconsider this offer and provide some more useful information that I think would really help Osu players for generations to come. So the real thing about Emmerich, and this is, a lot of people ask me about my opinions on Emmerich as a top player and how long I think he'll be rank 1. Here's the thing about Emmerich. A lot of top players or the past rank 1 players, they reached a point, even if they were ahead by a lot, they kind of went inactive and they stopped improving at the same rate that they used to, or they just kind of did something to wipe them off the record like Cookiezi did back in 2013. But I feel like often what happens when people reach rank 1 is that's kind of like the maximum goal that people have. Like from a motivation standpoint, like your really intense desire to push yourself and keep improving and gain higher ranks and things like that. Obviously, that can only go so far. And oftentimes what happens is when people reach rank 1, like, what's the next goal to achieve, really, other than breaking records, which you can see at the top of Emmerich's user page that's basically the route he's chosen to take. You reach a certain point where there's really nothing else to do. I mean, we can look at the global rankings and we can see that Emmerich is infinitely ahead of rank 2, and it's one thing to be so far ahead of everyone else in terms of rank, but it's another thing to also still be improving. Throughout Osu's history, we've never really seen a player that is so far ahead and also still improving. Once someone starts catching up to Emmerich, he's still going to be able to set out higher and higher scores and compete, and I feel like this is really, really one of those cases where Emmerich will just be rank 1 for as long as he wants to be, at least for the next, I feel like even 5 years or so, just because of how far ahead his skill cap is, and also really I think just his mentality towards improving. I don't think he lets these sort of arbitrary limits define what is and isn't possible. So there's something called the Bannister effect. This basically is the effect that if something has never been done before, it feels a lot less possible. But once one person has broken that record, like for example, the 1K PP barrier, which was a couple years ago, then suddenly it just gives people this confidence that they can also achieve that goal. And I feel like Emmerich doesn't really let those sorts of arbitrary barriers get to him. When people talk about, oh, you need a good mindset for improving and being really, really good at something, that's, I think, just one of many characteristics, is just not having those mental barriers get in your way. There's another very common mindset thing called fixed versus growth mindset. I won't go too much into it, but you can look that stuff up if you are very interested. But anyway, with that in mind, it's still the case that 1 year is a really, really long time. And like Emmerich even tried to take a break from the game for 1 month, and he made a tweet a couple weeks ago that was this: "I was so confident I could last 1 month without playing Osu, and I lasted 3 days." So that was like a month ago, or a little over 1 month ago. So with that context in mind, not going to farm for 1 year. Here's the thing about Emmerich. This guy has gotten like way too good for his own good. And I even tweeted out that thought on Twitter. Go follow me, linked in the description. But basically, if Emmerich is playing this game, then he's going to end up gaining rank as a byproduct, just because he's so good at the game that his casual scores are like 1000 or even like 1100 PP. Like his, decent runs where he's like, oh, I just want to get this score, I think it would be pretty cool. But don't just take my word for it, because literally the next day after this, Emmerich tweeted this score and he is like, I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. This was a 1092 PP score to be exact. And I just felt like this was a very interesting storyline to follow on his Twitter, so I felt like I wanted to share it with you guys. It just goes to show this guy is on a complete another level in this game. As usual, stuff like this does not need to be covered on YouTube for you guys to follow along with this stuff. You guys can go follow Emmerich on Twitter, because he actually tweets pretty often, but yeah, that's about it.